Hey guys, it's me, Pac, and you're watching Babbage Books. Hey guys, today we're going to be going over my January wrap-up. It's already the end of January. It's crazy. It feels like the year just started, and we are already in February. So, let's get to it. So, in the month of January, I read about 4 books. Was I talking this big game of like, oh, I'm beating my reading slump, I'm getting out of it, I'm that bitch again, and yeah, I was doing well for the first couple of weeks of January. Like the first week and a half of January. In the end, I tripped and fell and sprained my ankle. And that kind of just like put me in I'm not reading, I'm watching TV till my ankle feels better because I was stuck on the couch and I couldn't get to where my books were at. So that just really, really like took me for like a week and a half out of reading. And then I kind of got back into reading at the end of the month. So I did 2 books in the beginning of the month and then 2 books at the end. So yeah, not great. Not great. I did have 1 DNF. I did try to read City of Starlight, just couldn't get into it, so I DNF'd that. But we're going to go to Stats Paco. Stats Paco here. I'm here with my handy-dandy spreadsheet that I got with Allie, I believe is the YouTube channel name. But I'm looking at the month of January, and I have read 4 books this month. Pages read was 800, total page number read was 889. Hours listened to, about 25 hours and 45 minutes. Average rating was 3.6. I acquired 12 books this month, so don't judge. Started 2 series, and 2 of the books I read were diverse reads. 2 audiobooks, 2 physical, which I like that it's even mixture. And then 4 of them were novels. 2 were YA, 1 was new adult, and 1 was adult. 2 were 3-star reads, 1 was a 4, 1 was a 4.5. That is when I had certain things. I'm probably going to change on here 1 to a 2. But yeah, so 1 was dystopian, 2 were fantasy, and 1 was a paranormal. And then all 4 of them were not fiction. And none were nonfiction. So that is Stats Paco, and we'll get to the reviews shortly. So that was Stats Paco. Now we are into the reviews. So we'll talk about the first book I read that I do not physically have. I have 3 of the books I read. I do not have 1, and I listened to the audiobook of The Sunrise of the Reaping by Susan Collin. This was my first ever Hunger Games book, and as my first ever Hunger Games book, I actually really enjoyed this. It's a strong word. I'm not a dystopian fan. I do not like dystopian. I've never read a single Hunger Games book before. I've seen part of the first movie. I just don't do dystopian. It's not my genre, really. But this was a pick for my book club that I'm in. And so I read it, and I thought it was okay. It was good. The writing was good. The character work was great. Everything was that. I just, as an enjoyment level, did not care as much because it was so, to me, hopeless. It makes sense. This is a prequel to the Hunger Games, and it follows Haymitch's story. And so knowing that, these systems, they weren't going to be burning the systems down by the end of this book because, of course, they get burned down in the Hunger Games. It was a really, powerful book, and it talked about a lot of important things, like propaganda and shit. But I ended up, giving this a 4-star writing-wise enjoyment. It was, a 3. But, yeah. So now we're on to the rest of the books I read this month. So, by far, my favorite book I read this month was Our Vicious Oath by Annie Davenport. This is about a Fae princess, Khadijah, who she's about to get married, and she doesn't really want to marry this guy. He's the High Fae King. He's very powerful, but also very old. And she's like, I'm going to have a night out of fun. And then has fun. And then the night before her marriage. And then she's about to get married. And then someone interrupts her marriage. And it is Macaulay. My mind blanked on his name, but he is basically the sworn enemy of the kingdom and the guy she had fun with. And he basically takes her, and they have to work together, and they get a deal. Enemies to lovers, really fun, really steamy romantasy. I really enjoyed this. If you love romantasy, high key suggest checking this out. It's got action, it's got smut, it's got shadow daddies, it's got dragons. So I really enjoyed this book. I gave that one a 4.5. It is practically a 5-star. The next book I have is Broken Soul and Bones by L.J. Andrews. This book is about a girl. She is a magic user, and all the magic users are basically conscripted into this army, especially her, since she's a higher level magic user. But she is kind of in hiding. She doesn't want to join the king's army. She wants to just live her life. But the king's guard comes and takes her, and she starts falling for the king's guard. I thought this was okay. I don't think I'm going to continue with the series. I'll probably unhaul this book. I'm giving this like kind of a 2-star. It just wasn't for me. It took too long for the plot to get plotting. The magic system to me did not make sense. And I just really did not care for it. I thought this book was going to have an animal companion. It did not have an animal companion. And like I said, I just didn't care for it. I did like the fact that our male love interest is, he can't speak. He's mute. So he uses sign language. And so that was a part of the book. And I like that aspect a lot. But, that's the way that the author did that was really interesting. But I just couldn't keep me entertained enough. So, least favorite book of the year month. And the last book I read this month was Blood Moon by Brittany S. Lewis. This is a Twilight-inspired book. I would say Twilight meets Legendborn, and it follows our main girl, Marabella, who she is starting college, and she is still kind of like tragically mourning her mom who abandoned her and her dad, and she's still got a lot of trauma for that, and she goes to this college, and just mysterious shit starts happening. She's starting to get the attention of these two boys, Seven and Julian, and there's just like mysterious shit starts happening, and maybe some werewolves are involved, maybe some vampires are involved. I like this. I'm giving this 3 stars, but one thing I did not like is how long it took to get to the magic. It was one thing I don't like about like urban fantasies, especially like the first book of an urban book. Urban fantasy, I think is what it's called. I don't know if it's another name. So, the fantasies that take place in our world is waiting for the main character to realize what is happening, that there's like actual magic and stuff going on. When they're clueless, it really irritates me because I don't like not knowing what's going on. And it was like not until the last third of the book is when like she started getting answers, and so I felt like it wasted a lot of time. I will say it was readable though, like the boring parts it read really quickly, like you were able to get through it. It wasn't like I wasn't being able to keep my attention at all through the book. But I do feel like that held me back on finishing it. It took a little longer to finish it. But when it got, the pace and the plot got there, I was really intrigued. I was really interested. And I will be continuing with the series. I just wish I read this when I had the rest of the series to lean back on, but this only worked out. So I'm giving this 3 stars. And that is what I read in the month of January. What did you guys read? What was your favorite reads? Have you read any of these books? But yeah, definitely. That. If you have nothing else to say about what you read, leave a moon emoji for Blood Moon, because that's just the thing that came to my head. But I post videos every Friday. I try to do sprints on Mondays when I can. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!